Now, you may say, I don't think so, but it's true, right? Let's just do a bit of a quiz here. First of all, how many people recognize the opening voiceover, Space, The Final Frontier? How many people knew what that was referencing? No, that's easy. Okay. How many people, if I say the name Captain Kirk, know what I'm talking about?
Denny Crane.
Denny Crane. And what about if I say Captain Picard? How many people know what I'm talking about? Okay, still a good number. And what about if I do this with my hand? Besides it meaning I'm a geek. Okay, who does this in the show? Yep, Pam? Yes? Who does this in the show? Oh no, you weren't. Who does this in the show? Vulcans, right. So maybe Spock in the first one, but any Vulcan character. And they say, of course, live long and prosper, or if you're an uber geek, Jeff?
YOLO
and true, you prefer the Vulcan. So you see, even with that, this group of people who is not like, yes, Star Trek is the be-all and end-all of my being, we still can recognize some basic facts about the show. It really has become a part of our culture. You can get shows like The Simpsons who make fun of not only Star Trek, but the Star Trek phenomenon and those weird people who own pairs of Spock ears. So the question is, why is Star Trek so popular, right? Why are its fans so devoted? Because, let's face it, it's not the acting that has kept people captivated. It's William Shatner and his hair, I would say. And his shirt that never manages to make it through an episode. But no, I don't even think it's William Shatner because he's only in the first show. Right? So it doesn't explain the 4 other shows. I think it's the stories themselves. Because the stories, though often lacking in subtlety, I'll admit, are real and beautiful and relevant stories. Star Trek always strives to be relevant, and besides even specific episodes that rather obviously address, certain political or social concerns of the time, even aside from specific episodes like that, the whole series, the whole thing addresses characteristics of human life and human nature in a really real and challenging way. Take, for example, the second Star Trek movie, The Wrath of Khan. Okay? Arguably one of their best movies, certainly my favorite. In this, the Star Trek team is battling Khan, who is, wrathful towards them in general and Kirk in particular. And at the end of the movie, they are faced with a situation where there seems to be no way out. Okay, Khan has died, but of course, before he died, he programmed his ship to explode, knowing that the blast would destroy the Enterprise and kill her crew, including Kirk. Now, the Enterprise has been damaged in the battle. Her engines are kind of broken, and they can't get them back online, so the ship is not going to be able to escape in time. Captain Scott, the chief engineer, has been valiantly fighting to get the engines back online, but there's a radiation leak from the core, and he eventually succumbs to the exposure from the radiation and falls unconscious. So it seems like there's no way out. And the thing that makes this movie so different than anything else Star Trek had done to this point is that there is no way out for them. And they can't actually survive this one. At least not all of them. So Spock realizes what needs to be done. And he goes into the engine room. He goes into the part of the room that's been sealed off because of the radiation leak. And he manually fixes the core. The engines come back online, and the Enterprise is able to escape in the nick of time and escape the blast. But also, because of that, Spock receives a lethal amount of radiation and dies. And this is the scene we saw just a couple minutes ago as recapped at the beginning of the 3rd movie. Okay. Spock knows that he's dying, and he asks Kirk not to grieve, saying that what he's done was both logical and necessary. The needs of the many, right, he says, outweigh the needs of the one or the few. And then he dies. And the effect of this on Star Trek fans was profound. Almost as profound as the effect on the fictional crew of the Enterprise, right? I mean, Spock died. How can Spock die? He's the main character, right? He's the hero. He always, finds a way out in the nick of time, or it turns out he has like a 15th Vulcan heart or an immunity to whatever disease he's supposed to be dying from, But not this time. This time, He lays down his life for his friends, exchanges his life for theirs, and he dies. And he does this for them out of love. Love for them as individuals and love for them collectively. Yes, Spok's life was ruled by logic, but what are his last words to Kirk? Right? I have been and always shall be your friend. Live long and prosper. So his life may have been ruled by logic, but his last action is one of friendship and of love. But of course, this is not the end of the story. And in fact, Star Trek 3 and 4 continue the story of the second movie and spell out the consequences of Spok's sacrifice, because his death changed everything. In the third movie, entitled The Search for Spock, we find out that while Spock is dead, his katra, what we might call his spirit, lives on. And in fact, is living in McCoy's head and driving him crazy. This is a science fiction show. Okay, and because of the nature of the planet near where they kind of buried Spock at the end, you saw them shoot him out there. Because of the nature of that planet, his body has actually been regenerated. And of course, it has no memories, even of how to speak. So in order for Spock to be whole again, and in order for McCoy not to be committed to an insane asylum, they need to take Spock's katra out of McCoy and put it back into Spock. Now, if what I just said sounds really kind of nonsensical, then that would indicate to me you're not a fan of sci-fi, which is fine, but the details aren't important. All you need to know is that in order for everything to be okay again, Kirk needs to get McCoy and Spock's body to Vulcan. Okay, that's the important point. But of course, that's not as easy as it seems. Now, we're going to watch another clip, two clips actually, and in the first scene, we're going to see Kirk and Sarek, who is Spock's father, realizing that Spock's katra is in McCoy, okay, and so we want to be looking at how Kirk responds to this knowledge. And the third one, you see Kirk responding to this in a conversation with one of his superiors. Now, just a couple tips for watching these clips. First off, please try not to be distracted by the awesomeness that is Kirk's hair. How it achieves such perfection is a mystery better left unpondered. And under no circumstances attempt to discern what Chekhov is wearing, because this is too painful.
Painful.